Hello again. As you know, I am Eli, the computer guy, and today we're going to be talking about wireless tokens for Mac security. So this is one of those really cool new pieces of technology which is just absolutely great. This is truly a cool piece of technology for the modern world. So if you are a systems administrator, one of the problems when you're dealing with computers and security is how to lock down computers in a way that doesn't make users lose their mind, right? Because basically all systems should be locked when users walk away from them. If a user is not sitting down at their computer, it should be locked so that other people can't sit down at the computer and try to hack in or do something nefarious. The problem is dealing with users in the real world, they just don't like that type of thing, right? They want their computer to be useful as soon as they sit down. They don't want to put in long passwords, they don't want to do complicated passwords, they don't want to have to do any of that mess. That is where these little wireless tokens are a really great thing. So basically what this is this is a Bluetooth device right here, right? So it's a Bluetooth device, it has a little Bluetooth signal, and what you do is you pair this with your Mac. Then what you do is you install an application onto your Mac, and what that application does is it tells the Mac what to do when this is in range or out of range. So what it says is once this goes out of range, to lock the Mac down and not let anybody use it. And then when this thing does come back into range, then it unlocks the system automatically. The user doesn't have to worry about passwords, the user doesn't have to worry about any of that stuff. It is a really cool little thing. So let's go over to the demo table just for a second so I can just show you this key. So this is the key, and so really, like I say, it's a small little thing. It's about the size of just a normal key. Obviously it's a rectangle, and it has the little key ring thing on it, so you can put it on your key ring. So the idea is you put this on your key ring or you put this on a lanyard. When you're at your Mac, when you're sitting down in front of it, you're able to use the Mac, and then when you walk away from the Mac, it will then lock automatically. So let's go over to the Mac, and I can kind of show you what's going on here. So this is the Mac, and what you do is you go to Adama.io and you do their setup routine, and basically this explains what's going on. So you go here, you turn on your Bluetooth, then you download this app, you install the app, and then once you've installed the app, you can go and you can deal with the preferences. And so up here is you have the lock. So what we can do is we can click on that and we can go to preferences. Now once we go to preferences, we can see all the different preferences it has. So this tells us that the Sesame, this little key, is actually connected, the battery level is full, and the signal strength is strong, so we can make sure that this is actually working right. Then what we can do is go down here, and this says when to lock. So when this little key goes out of range, do you want the computer to lock instantly? Do you want the computer to lock after 10 seconds, 1 minute, or 5 minutes? So you can decide that. And then you can do a locking distance, near or far. So near is somewhere between 6 to 8 meters. So once this little key goes out 6 to 8 meters out of range, it will lock. So 8 meters is actually away, so that's about 24 feet, or far, which is like 8 to 10 meters, so a little bit farther than that. So you would decide this. So you don't get to say how many feet. It's not like you say 1 feet or 5 feet or 6 feet. It's just kind of like a near or far thing, but that's pretty useful. Then down here, what you can say is select how you want to unlock your Mac. So when this little key comes into range, do you want it to auto unlock? Do you want to have to put in a password, or do you want two-factor? So do you have to have the key and the password at the same time if you want to do super tight security? Then beyond that, we can go down here and we can do the script. So when my Mac locks, do I want it to automatically mute? Do I want it to automatically pause iTunes, set Skype away, do all these other things? We can add pluses or whatever. When my Mac unlocks, do I want these things to happen? So not just can you have the system lock, but you can have these other things happen. So let's say I'm in an office environment and I'm listening to music, right? And I walk away to go to the bathroom. Well, if I'm listening to music and I walk away, I don't necessarily want my music to continue playing, so I can just automatically have this set to mute. So that's really all there is from a setup standpoint. Again, I installed this very easily. You download the setup routine. When you download the setup routine, it'll automatically detect the Adama. You just click to connect to the little key. Once you've connected to the key, it runs you through a little setup routine, which basically has you configure all this information, and away you go. So now I'm going to try to do a test with this. Dun dun dun, a live test. I'm a little scared. So I've been playing with this for a while, and every time I've played with this has worked, I will say. But now I'm doing a live demonstration, so you guys know how the live demonstration goes. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna walk just about 20 feet away, and this thing should lock, hopefully. And so I'm gonna put my little speaker, my microphone here, and I will keep talking to you as I walk away and show you what happens to the computer. So this is the computer just sitting on my demo table, and so I'm walking away, So right now I'm about 10 feet away, I'm walking away, I'm walking away, I'm walking away, I'm walking away, I'm about, like I say, right now here I'm about the 24 to 30 feet mark. And there, now it is locked, and like I said, I'm about 24 feet away, so I'm going to start walking towards it, 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 and then I get close, and then see, look at that. It automatically then unlocked for us. So that is the idea behind these wireless tokens, or these wireless keys, is that no longer do you have to worry so much about passwords and all that kind of stuff. You can simply have this in your pocket, and when you walk away from the computer, it will lock. When you come back to the computer, it will unlock. This greatly improves the security in your environment, because now people don't have to remember passwords. They also can't share these things, right? I mean, that's one of the things you have to think about. Like, when people use passwords for their computers, it's very easy to tell other people what the password is. With something like this, there's only one of these. So if they put this on their key ring, are they as likely to hand it over? You know, is like the password, especially if you charge them money. If you say, I don't know, it costs $100 to replace this thing, are they going to be as likely to give it to somebody else if they're worried about using it? That's it. So this particular one, though, if you're interested in this, again, it's pretty nifty neat, and so far it works pretty well. It gets a little quirky every once in a while, but overall it works fine. But this is the Sesame 2, and this is from this company called Adama.io. Again, whether or not you like this particular product, I do think this is kind of the future with technology, especially the fact that this connects to the computer using Bluetooth. So you can think about, you could do these keys with task-specific Bluetooth keys, or you could do something like this using a smartphone. There's a lot of interesting ways that this can happen, but I just kind of wanted to demo with this for you today. So again, cool little thing. This is from Adama.io, wireless little security keys for your Mac. Definitely a cool thing to look at for the future. Yeah. AddAccess.com. If you're dealing with Active Directory on a large scale, so you have hundreds of users to add, hundreds of users to disable, so on and so forth, you may want to take a look at AddAccess.com. This is Active Directory management and automation software. So this tries to automate and simplify the Active Directory workflow. So if you are in a large scale Active Directory infrastructure, take a look at AddAccess.com. Altero.com, Altaro.com, if you're dealing with virtualization in a Hyper-V environment. So we're talking about Windows Server 2008 R2, 2012, and 2012 R2. Take a look at Altero.com. They have a number of Hyper-V backup solutions. They have the free version, which will back up to 2 VMs for free forever. They also have the unlimited version, starting at only $400 per host. I think this is a very good value. So if you are dealing with Hyper-V virtualization and you need a backup solution, take a look at Altero.com. NerdsWeCanFixThat.com. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, but you don't want to have to worry about coming up with a logo and copyright copyright and trademark and all of those kinds of things, you may think about buying into a computer services franchise system. Nerds We Can Fix That is a computer services franchise system. They have 62 franchises throughout the United States. They can franchise in every state other than Hawaii. They also franchise internationally. If you're thinking about starting your own computer services company, you should contact them, fill out the information below, or give them a call. Again, as I will say, franchise systems are great for a lot of people, not so good for others. Always make sure to do your due diligence, but if you're thinking about starting a computer services company anyway, you might as well contact Nerds We Can Fix That to see what they have to say. Is managing users and computers on Active Directory too cumbersome? Download SolarWinds' terrific trio of free Active Directory admin tools today and start saving time on those Active Directory management tasks. These free tools help you manage and remove computers and users from Active Directory and allow you to add users in bulk. The free tools include Inactive User Account Removal Tool, enables you to scan Active Directory and optionally remove users who have not logged in for a certain amount of time. Inactive Computer Account Removal Tool enables you to scan Active Directory and optionally remove computers that are over a certain number of days old. And User Import Tool saves time by giving you the ability to create users in bulk using a CSV file. You can even specify the attributes. Also be sure to check out SolarWinds community page, thwack.com, to connect with more than 100,000 IT professionals. So take a look at solarwinds.com for their free and other tools. SchooleyMitchell.com. If you're trying to find better internet or telephone service, or if you're trying to find less expensive internet or telephone service, give Schooley Mitchell a call. Basically what these guys are telecom consultants. You call them, you say what you need for yourself or your client, and they figure out the best option. They'll examine your existing services and review your bills to make sure there are no errors. Then they'll keep an eye on your services moving forward so that everything remains optimized. Because Schooley Mitchell is objective and independent, they have no ties to vendors. You know they are always your best interests in mind. The best part is there is no fee for their services. The only cost is a portion of the shared savings over a set period of time. If they don't find savings, there is no cost to you. Schooley Mitchell. Plixer.com. Plixer deals with NetFlow analytics software. So NetFlow is a component of Cisco equipment that shows you what's going on at the network layer, what devices are talking to what other devices, what kind of network jitter, all of that kind of stuff. So Plixer has a free piece of software called Scrutinizer. Scrutinizer is a free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. So if you want to play around with NetFlow, if you want to see what's going on with the network layer and you have Cisco equipment, take a look at Plixer.com. Click on the link below this video. It'll bring you to this page where you can download Scrutinizer, the free NetFlow network traffic analysis tool. Spiceworks.com. These guys have the free network management software, the free mobile device management software, the free community with millions of users. So if you're an IT professional and you need support, Spiceworks is a great place to go. All of their stuff is basically free and just an absolutely great thing. Again, if you have any questions that I don't answer in the show that are technical in nature, we're talking about Active Directory synchronization between sites in remote areas. If you click on the link below this video, that will take you to the Spiceworks community. They have millions of users there that will be able to help you out. So take a look at spiceworks.com. Veeam.com, Veeam.com. If you just virtualized 100 servers and now you're trying to figure out how to back them up, they have solutions for ESXi, they have solutions for HyperV, and as you guys like, they have free stuff. So if you are dealing with a virtualized environment and you're trying to figure out a backup solution, take a look at Veeam.com. So the hands-on review today is the Initech FD1006 lay flat docking station. So this is a docking station for hard drives that is really, really cool, really, really useful, and one of those things I haven't actually seen anybody else produce. So basically, this is a docking station that is very good when you want to be swapping out hard drives a lot for whatever reason. So let's say you want to use hard drives for your backup routine, and you don't want to actually have to plug the hard drive into your computer and then unplug it from the SATA connections or whatever. What this allows you to do is very easily connect the hard drive to your computer, do the backup routine, do the copy routine, pop the hard drive out, and away you go. So let's go over to the demonstration table to show you, because I really, really, really do like this thing. So I have used a lot of different docking stations in the past, and most of the docking stations use what we call the toaster form factor. So they're basically little squares. You slot in the hard drive this way, it clicks in, it feels like there's a lot to it, right? Well, what's cool with this is you can just lay this down and then you can just very easily slide your hard drives in and out. So all I do is I put this down here, I slide the hard drive in, and now it's connected. It does the backup routine or whatever, and then I can just pull it out that easy. I want to take another hard drive. Let's say I want to take a little 2.5 inch. I can take that. I can slide it in that easy. When I'm done, I can pull it out and away you go. So if you're going to be doing things like data recovery, this is awesome. You pull the hard drive out of the dead desktop computer. You just slot it in here to your machine you want to push the data to. You copy the data off. When you're done, you pull this out, away you go. You don't have to worry about breaking parts. Like that's one of the things I found with those toaster ones is like sometimes it would break. There's a lot of there's some moving parts in there. Things wouldn't connect quite right. With this, as you can see, this just very easily slips in, slips out, slips in, slips out. I mean, it really, you don't have to worry about anything breaking. It's just very smooth, all in all. And again, like I say, it connects also with, like I say, these little 2.5 drives. It is that easy. Now with the Initech one, what's nice is you get the USB 3.0 speed. So this will be pulling data off much faster than the old USB 2.0s, which again, for data recovery is just a great thing. So if you're doing like I say, data recovery operations or backup operations, this is just very useful. Instead of buying an entire external hard drive with enclosure and all that, you can simply buy just a single drive and use that for your backup routine. So I own a lot of 4 terabyte standard drives, and so I'm frankly going to be using this for my backup routine for videos. So I can plug this into my Mac Pro. I can just plug it in, do a synchronization routine, synchronize all the video files to the hard drive, pull it out. I can store this somewhere, take another hard drive, plug it in, and away you go. Especially now that like 4 terabyte drives are all the way down to it's like $100 or something. This is just absolutely great. So again, data recovery operations, backup operations, whatever it is. USB 3.0 works very well. So if we go over and we just take a look at this on the computer, we can say again, Initech, INATECK.com, and this is the FD1006, so you can get a little bit better idea of what's involved here. And then if we go to Amazon.com where they sell it, again, what I like with Initech equipment is this is $25. So quote unquote, it's on sale from $50. I will say $50 may be a little bit expensive, but at $25, I would say for a real computer technician, that is just dirt cheap. I would definitely buy one of these guys. Again, I've done lots of reviews on Initech equipment. What I like about Initech equipment is it's just good, solid stuff that consultants need. Like I say, all of this stuff works very well. It's very affordable. It's built well. Because I used to buy a lot, like I say, the toasters or external enclosures and all that, and they used to be built very piss poor. But like all the Initech stuff, this is just good. It feels like a good piece of equipment, and it works well. So there's just really no downside to it. So take a look at the Initech FD1006 lay down docking station. I give it such a thumbs up because I am frankly this is one, like I do all the giveaways now. You're not gonna get this. This is mine because I mean, like I say, you can just set this down. You can plug the drive in. You can do your synchronization routine. You get done. You pull it out, and away you go. I mean, what geek doesn't want this? Especially now that there's 4 terabyte drives out there. I would argue it's awesome, but yeah. So this question comes from somebody, 4th generation BA, whoever the hell that is. I am from Oklahoma. Well, that makes all the difference. Boy, you're from Oklahoma. Anyways, I am taking a computer course through my high school for college credit. I'm working on my A+, and when I'm done with that, I plan on getting my Linux or my security certification. I know they aren't worth as much as degrees, but which one should I choose? P.S. I'm only doing the A+, because the teacher said I can't do anything until I get that one. Okay, as far as not being able to do anything until you get your A+, that may be true with whatever curriculum you have in your high school. That is not true in this profession. Many people, many almost everybody skips their A plus, frankly, to be honest with you, especially in this day and age. So the question then, they're getting the A plus, and it's like, okay, I'm in high school. Should I go for my Linux or my security certification? And here is where I'm going to throw you a curveball. What you really should do, honestly and truly, is you should go to college. Wah, wah, right? Because Linux certificate, nobody really cares about Linux certifications. Unless you know you're going into a Red Hat environment. The RHEC, the Red Hat, whatever. The Red Hat certifications are, in fact, very, very valuable if you are going into a Red Hat environment. If you're not going into the Red Hat environment, not so much. There are other Linux certifications. Again, they're cute. They're brownie points. Yay. As far as security certifications go, I guess you could get your Security Plus. That might be okay. But what I would suggest you guys do, for all of you guys, even if you're high school, is go to your local community college and enroll in college courses. When I was in high school, I actually took a college, not a college level, but a college private investigation course. Because what I found out is, especially at community colleges, and especially if you don't actually enroll in a degree program, like if you enroll in a degree program, you have to give them the SATs and all this other stuff. If you just take a course, even for credit, but you're not actually in the degree program, you basically just give them a check for however much money and they let you go. Again, I was 17 and I did it no problem. I had buddies of mine, to tell you how screwed up the education system was even 20 years ago, there was actually a trend in my area 20 years ago, so we're not even going to talk about now, 20 years ago, where I had multiple friends of mine with what they would do is when they turned 16, they would drop out of high school, they would get their GEDs, smart kids. They would then, at 16, enroll at the community college. So by the time they were 18, they had their associate's degrees, and they seemed frickin' brilliant. The ironic thing is, when they talked about it, they said, listen, community college, frankly, ain't any harder than high school. So as far as they were concerned, it was win-win-win, right? So what I would say for a lot of you high schoolers is you should look at college programs. If you start taking a college class when you are 16, that is just so many ego points, right? People say, hey, so what are you up to lately? And be like, well, man, I was just taking my computer science class at the community college. But you're 16 and you're taking college classes? Well, I figured why waste my time with all this high school stuff? Truth. So again, trying to go to like a full-fledged university, that gets a little more complicated. Going for an actual degree program gets a little more complicated. But honestly, most community colleges or junior colleges here in the United States, in order to take a class, generally you have to be a minimum of 16, which you should be. And then you walk in and you basically just give them the check and you take the class and you get your credits and then you seem cool. And think about that, right? And that's, so much of success in life is pomp and circumstance, right? So much of being successful in life is stupid little gold stars and stupid ass pieces of paper. And just think about this. You can come out of high school and have an A plus and a net plus. Woo. Or you can come out of high school with 15 credit hours of a computer science degree done, maybe a year of a computer science degree done. I would say that would be much cooler, much better on the resume, and will follow you a lot farther in life. When you're 30 years old and people say, so where did you go to college? And you say, well, when I was 16, I started taking college classes. That's just good all the way around. So I would say college. Again, like I say, for most of you guys, if you don't know what you're doing in life, go to college. And again, even if you're 16, start taking 1-2 college credits a semester, college classes a semester. You will be happier for it in the long run. So this question comes from Randy S. Oh, Randy, yes, I do pity you. My question centers around convincing my boss to invest in higher quality equipment when we replace old stuff. The owner does not believe in investing in business grade equipment. He's satisfied buying things that are consumer grade and good enough for now, but he does not see how many man hours are being spent replacing these consumer grade devices and how the employees are being affected. For example, we have non-business grade 12 megabit internet connection running through an ASUS router for $85 85 users. And I hear complaints every day about how slow the network is running. So he goes on and on here, but basically the idea is, you're doing tech support for a company. They want to buy consumer grade equipment. How do you convince the boss to buy the better stuff, the business quality equipment? And here is the short answer. You don't, most likely. The long answer is you go find another job and you don't work for such a dumbass boss, right? And again, this is one of those things I tell you guys in life is you have to understand something about the real world of business. The real world of business is that when you're an employee, you are not the owner. And no matter how dumb the owner is being, no matter how stupid the owner is being, no matter how short-sighted the owner is being, guess what? The owner is the one that gets to write the check. So if the owner is being dumb, stupid, short-sighted, etc., and you can't convince them to do otherwise, then you really should go find a new job, because you find this a lot in life. And the issue here is I don't really know what you would say to your boss, because especially if you have 85 users running through an ASUS router, I don't know this particular RTAC66U, but I don't think any ASUS routers are built for 85 users. There is just fundamentally a mental problem. So a lot of business owners, what you have to understand about business, real business in the real world, right, is business is as much art as anything else. When an owner creates a business, they are putting into the world what is in their head. They have a worldview, and that business that they are creating is as much a piece of art as a statue or a painting or a poem, right? It brings in money, but it really is. This is a physical manifestation of their worldview. And so the issue is if you go to the boss, and if the boss is if the boss, not the employees. Who the fuck cares about the employees? The boss don't care about the employees unless the boss cares about the employees. But if the boss doesn't come to you and have complaints, then the boss doesn't really care, right? So if the boss comes to you and says, listen, tech support guy, our network is too damn slow and you're not doing your job properly, right? If the boss comes to you and says that, then you can look the boss square in the eye and say, listen, we're using a SUS router that is not built for this particular infrastructure. So what we need to do is we need to buy another router that will support our infrastructure. Because the boss brings the problem to you, then you can discuss it with the boss, and then you'll probably win the argument. If the only people that are complaining are the employees, then guess what? The boss don't care. And if the boss don't care, the problem ain't gonna get solved. And if the problem doesn't get solved, guess what? That means you're doing overtime, most likely on a salary paycheck, and life is gonna suck. So what I will tell you guys again and again and again and again and again is sometimes you can't convince people to do anything, right? Sometimes you can't. And so one of the biggest things that you have to think about with your career and with your profession is you need to get yourself into an environment that is compatible with your worldview. The more compatible your environment is with your worldview, the more successful you will be. If you have the same worldview as your boss, the boss is going to look at whatever you do and go, wow, that's exactly what I would have done if I was a computer geek. This geek is awesome. They're going to get a promotion. They're going to get a raise. If your worldview is different than your boss's, no matter how professional you are, no matter how good you are, no matter what quality you're doing, the boss has a different worldview. So they're going to be looking at what you're doing going, why the hell are they doing that? They're just trying to waste my money. They're just screwing around. And you're going to look at them and go, what do you mean I'm screwing around? I'm doing best practices. I'm working my ass off. But because there's different worldviews, you're never going to agree. And if you don't agree, you're not going to be successful, right? Because, again, being an employee, you're dependent on the boss. The boss doesn't give you a promotion. The boss doesn't give you a raise unless they trust you. They trust people with the same worldview. So in this environment, what I would say is don't worry about this environment. Get another job. If the boss isn't complaining, the boss doesn't care. If you are complaining and the boss isn't complaining, again, just go get a new job. That really, it is. Sometimes that really is the answer. So for the final thoughts today, I want to talk about talking about money. This is one of those really weird things that comes up that I kind of scratch my head about and really shows the difference in mentality between owners and employees. So that's one of the differences I talk about a lot in life, and I tell you that you guys should come to grips with, is that owners and employees really look at the world in a different way, and they really interact with the world in a different way. How owners go about doing things and interacting with the world is shockingly different than how the employee mindset interacts with the world. And this is something that a lot of people don't understand, especially, when you think about it, in life, there's only so many owners. There's a very small percentage of owners to a very large percentage of employees. So employees, because of their mass, they think that everybody in the world thinks like them, when in reality, no. Employees think like employees, and owners think like owners. And the reason owners are so successful in making the money and having such good lives is because, in fact, they do things differently. But employees always are like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing whatever it is. And so one of the things that came up recently is when I did one of my videos about MicroStopped, I talked about how much money I make, or I talked about how much money I make from YouTube alone. So I said, YouTube alone, the advertisements on these videos, I make 6 figures. And then on top of that, I have the sponsorships, and I have the paid appearances, and I have all that kind of stuff. And one of the things that was very interesting, almost shocking for me to see, is how much backlash I got about that. How many people were saying that I was ingrateful because, I make, 6 figures just off of YouTube alone, or how I take it for granted and all this kind of stuff. Talking about money and talking about success is considered something that you just don't do. That seems horrible. And you just, why would anybody talk about money? It's pomp and ego and all that kind of thing. Now, the issue is, the problem with this is that what you have to understand is that employees don't talk about money. Employees don't talk about their salary. Employees don't talk about their benefits. Employees don't talk about all this stuff. Why? Because people that are owned by other people do not need to worry about their value, right? Because their value is set by somebody else, because they are a piece of property, really, realistically, right? Owners worry about what everybody is valued at because that is significant to them. So when I go out and I talk to other business owners, we are very open about money. We talk about what individual units sell for. We talk about the profit margins for individual units. When I go out and I talk to Ron, I know a lot about Ron's business, and Ron knows a lot about my business. When I went to Kempo, the Kempo instructor, I knew a lot about the Kempo instructor's business, and he knew a lot about my business. Why? Because, interestingly enough, owners do not have a problem talking about money. We'll talk about what units cost. We'll talk about what resources cost. We'll talk about the profit margins in between. Now, we don't get overly specific. If I sit down, let's say I go to my martial arts instructors, and I start talking to him, we can talk about it. It's like, so how much do you get per student every month? And it's like, oh, I don't know, $100 or $200 or whatever. And then I can say, so how many students do you have? And it's like, oh, 150. And so I can get in my head, it's like, oh, okay, now I get an idea of how much money this person is bringing in gross. Then I can look around and go, so, what do you pay a secretary anyway? And they tell me what they pay a secretary. And they don't, it's one of those things, like, business owners don't say the actual specific number that they bring home, but you can get a very good idea. When two business owners sit down and talk about things, we are actually very open about these numbers. And this is very important. This is incredibly important for being successful in life, because since business owners are so open with each other about what things cost, what they sell things for, profit margins, we can decide what is the best niche to get ourselves into. So again, me being a computer guy, even when I had my consulting business, I would sit down with the owners of surveillance system companies and talk to them about business, and I could get an idea if that was a profitable niche. Or I would sit down and talk to the owners of telephone system businesses and get an idea of if it's a profitable niche. And so since we communicate so much and talk about it, we can figure out where we are best placed to do business. So I can sit down and I can talk with, let's say, a cabling company, which is a technology company of sorts, and we can talk about how much money they make and profit and all that kind of stuff. But then as I'm sitting there talking with the business owner, I find out that basically it's a labor company. So it's one of those things where we're sitting there with the business owner and he says, okay, well, this is how we're doing, but honestly, in order to be able to do this, we need 50 employees. And now me, being my little aspy self, I can say there's no way in hell I want 50 employees. So that's a great business for this guy, but I don't want 50 employees. So then I can sit down with a web developer guy and I can say, well, how is this? And you figure out all the numbers and everything. I'm like, well, do you need very many employees for what you're doing? And they say, no, I subcontract out everything, some graphic design, some infrastructure stuff. Otherwise, I do it myself. So I go, oh, so you make this much money doing this and you don't have to deal with employees and resources. Maybe this is what I want to do. But then talking with them, it's like, well, can you move up in what you're doing? So you're a web designer now and you're making 6 figures now, but will you ever be able to make 7 figures? And then they look at me and, well, no, what I'm doing, I'm a web designer, I'll never make 7 figures. So I'm like, okay, oh, that's not quite what I want to do, then I'll figure something else out. So this is a very important thing to understand, and this is one of the reasons I think employees are so frustrated with the modern world, is because they don't communicate with each other. Janitors don't talk about their salaries to computer scientists. Computer scientists don't talk about their salaries to construction workers. None of these employee type personalities communicate with each other, so nobody really understands where they fit within the whole paradigm of what is going on with business, and they feel like money and benefits and all these things are kind of just arbitrarily distributed. A computer scientist just randomly makes $150,000 a year, and a janitor just randomly makes $13 a year, or $13 an hour. Whereas if you're a business owner, you understand the supply, the demand, and where everything fits in. This was a very interesting thing when I talked about the whole Microsoft issue and the fact that it may shut down my business, and I was talking about making 6 figures. And one of the comments that was made is that you take this for granted. Basically, you are. What did the person say? It was like, that it was somehow given to me, like that I create these videos and that I make over 6 figures, that is somehow given to me and that I should be grateful for that. When I look at it as a business owner, as somebody that's been doing this for a long time, the way I look at it is I should make 6 figures. If I can make 6 figures making YouTube videos, this is a great business. I'm not going to lie. If you can be successful doing this, this is a great business. On the other hand, I can go back to being a consultant and make 6 figures. I can go and be a CIO and make 6 figures. I can go and do a startup company and probably, con some investor out of 6 figures. When I talk about making 6 figures, this is not a gift from the spaghetti monster. This isn't luck that I won the lottery. It is that I have the skill set that allows me to do this. Whether I do YouTube videos or whether I do consulting or whether I do CIO stuff or whether I do my own startup company, this isn't some random concept to me. So one of the things that I'll tell you guys, especially for all you employees out there, is you should start talking about money. You should start communicating about your salary and discuss, why does the help desk person in your company make X amount of money and the senior administrator make Y amount of money, right? The more you understand where you fit in on the whole scale of things, the more comfortable you'll feel because you will start to get an idea of why you fit in, where you are, and then not only that, you can start to get an idea of where you need to go. How much money do you want to make? And once you start talking to people and go, okay, a senior Java developer makes X amount of money, I want to make X amount of money, I should go be a senior Java developer. Kind of get what I'm saying? Again, I talk a lot about the fact that business owners and employees think about the world. They have a different worldview, and what I will tell you, just again and again and again, is the more you take ownership of your career, the more you look at your career as a business, the more successful you'll be. Again, the CEO of Microsoft just said, for women, in order to get ahead, that they should do a good job, and then karma will give them the salary and all that. And that is a pile of horse crap. That is the horse crap you tell your peon employees to get them to sit down, shut up, and do what the hell you tell them, because Because no, you should know what your peers earn. You should know what your superiors earn. You should know what your subordinates earn so that you know where you fit, and if you should go somewhere else for more profit, that's what you should do. So that's the final thoughts for today. And again, like I say, money's no magical thing. Money, business, and all that kind of stuff. This isn't fairy dust. This isn't cotton candy. This is brass tacks. And the more comfortable you feel with yourself, the more you understand where you fit in the whole world of business, I think just the better everything is.